Peace, peace, YouTube. What's up? What's up? Right back at you with another episode of A Place to Conversate. I am your host, Jalil. This is the People's Platform, the place where we find answers together, learn from each other in order to grow together. I got my man, my big brother, Brother Ali, on the phone with me. We just want to talk about, Ali, I want, before we get into the topic of discussion, man, I want to touch on this situation about this cat that got killed out there in Joliet, Illinois, Eric Lurie, a 36-year-old African-American that died in the hands of police custody. I think you watched the video. I watched the video. Let me hear from you first what you saw. Did you think that was he died? Did the police kill him?
I don't know, but the police was treating him very disrespectfully, so I don't like that. I don't like to see that, never, but when they held their hand over his nose, it looked like they did kill him. I guess he wasn't dying before they got a hold of him.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's really disturbing, to be honest with you, man. I only could watch it like one time, but the thing about it to me was when the cop smacked him, he was clearly alive.
Yeah,
he looked at him.
Wake up, bitch.
Yeah, wake up, bitch. But in the beginning of the video, it looked as if the dude was having some distress. I think they thought he swallowed some drugs or whatever, but that's not even the issue. I mean, if that was the case, get the dude some medical attention, something. That to me was murder.
Did the drugs kill him, or did the hand over the nose kill him?
Well, the coroner, from what I understand, is saying that he died from extreme amounts of fentanyl, cocaine, and heroin in the system. Now, before the cops, you see him in the back seat, kind of looks like he's under duress. You know what I mean? Look like he's in some type of situation going on. And then when they open up the video, you see the cop is rubbing his chest. Look like he's rubbing his chest. So it was something going on, but I'm sure holding his nose and cutting off his pathway for 1 minute and 38 seconds didn't help the situation. You know what I'm saying? How could that have helped him?
That certainly didn't help.
And then from what I understand, the dude that blew the whistle, the sergeant, said that tactic, I guess it's a maneuver that they use when they think you swallow drugs. They try to use it to make you throw it up.
Yeah.
But he said that tactic, they was put out of practice like some years ago. They shouldn't have been using that maneuver.
Yeah.
So,
that means they was in the wrong then.
Yeah, and on top of that, if it was nothing wrong, why cover it up for 5 months? Why just coming out with it now if everything was on the up and up? Obviously, they're hiding something.
Oh, they would have never came out with it if my man hadn't blew the whistle on them.
Exactly, but that's my point. So they covered it up. So obviously everything can't be on the up and up about it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was murder, man. I mean, they got to do some medical attention. He probably would have came up out of that. But them holding his nose and cutting off his air pathway for 1 minute and 38 seconds, I don't see how that could have helped the situation at all. You know what I mean?
I don't see how that could help the situation either. I believe that they're responsible for my man's death. And if not, he's definitely responsible for assault, where he slapped him in the face and called him a bitch. That's illegal in this country.
Exactly. You had to do helpless, subdued, handcuffed behind his back, clearly under some kind of medical duress. And this is how you treat him, you know what I mean? And this leads me into the topic. You know, it's been a lot of talk and debate about defunding the police. Me, I'm with defunding the police. I think that those monies can be allocated in different ways to come back and really help the community, the black community. For one, go ahead.
No, I'm with you on that. I think the police need to be defunded. They got way too much money. New York City police budget is $6 billion. That's far too much money. They don't need all that money.
Exactly. And then they're only...
LA budget is $3 billion. And they got homeless people sleeping all... You got to see how the homeless problem is in LA, and you're giving up $3 billion for the police.
Exactly.
You don't need that kind of money.
Exactly. Just to do what with? You know what I mean? Help.
Just to oppress the people.
Exactly. Oh man. So I want to talk about, because it's been like the right wing has been hijacking the narrative, making when people talk about defund the police as if you're talking about abolishing the police, disbanding the police. My thing is, for one, I'm I'm actually a proponent of police. I'm for policing. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm not for is for these Nazis or these white supremacists running around impersonating police. The idea and the theory of police is a great thing, but in practice, for some reason, it seems to be a very difficult thing to do when it comes to police in our communities. When it comes to police in our communities, I feel like they come in with the intention is to hurt, harm, punish, arrest, and even kill. Now, when they're in other communities, it's a whole different story. They're true to their word. They're true to their creed, which is to protect and serve. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a problem of only white boys on the force. I think that it's a systemic problem that the cops all walk around knowing that they can't be fired, they can't be disciplined, they won't even be looked at if they commit crimes. Their friends will cover up for them, and I think that's more of a problem than just the odd white boy that's got a thing out to kill black people. I think it's more of a systemic problem from top to bottom, and I think that these police unions need to be reined in and stripped of a lot of their power.
I'm with you on that. We definitely got to get in there and do something about these police unions, because that gives them, and also do something about that qualified immunity. They need to get rid of that.
That's right.
I feel like they also need to put these policemen's pensions at risk if they do some foul shit like that.
If they get fired, their pension is at risk. But what I'm saying is, let's take Derek Chauvin as an example. Mm-hmm. This man had damn near 20 serious complaints made against him in the years that he was on the police force, and was never disciplined. Was suspended one time for 40 hours, and that's it.
Wow.
What do you make complaints for? Exactly. If nobody's paying attention, if nobody's being disciplined, you're wasting your time making complaints.
Exactly. And that's another thing. I think there have to be more rigorous strategies around their recruitment processes. I think they need to get deeper into these people's past as far as their social media, find out if they got any type of white nationalist, white supremacist leanings, things of that nature, because too many times we see this type of...
That's only going to catch so many, though, because anybody that's worth their salt and knows anything about anything knows to keep that kind of thing undercover. You understand? Especially in this climate we're in now, where it could cost you your job and it could cost you everything. People know better than to talk like that now. You understand? People that want to be police and firemen, they know better than that. They feel that way. A lot of them may feel that way, but they keep that on the low. They don't broadcast that.
Yeah, I can dig it, but at the same time, you see, just recently these police in North Carolina, they got, even though they were on the force and been on the force for a very long time, talking over the microphone, over the intercom, talking about how they
mistakenly recorded themselves.
Yeah, they made a mistake and recorded themselves. And then just recently, they just fired these police in Colorado over mocking the young man Elijah McClain's death by doing a chokehold. So those sentiments, and that's another thing. Let's talk about real fast about just how this is so deeply ingrained. You said systemic. We got to talk about the origins of policing. Can we go there for a minute?
Yeah.
So we talk about the origins of police, and we talk about where it originally started. It started with the slave patrol. Once slavery was abolished, then the police came about being what we know as pretty much modern day police. They professionalized it in a sense and gave them more tasks to do, which basically... So what I'm getting at is that this is ingrained into this this institution of policing, and not only that, you got an environment where somebody with this type of sentiment and ideology, it's heaven for them. You know what I mean? They thrive in this. This is what they work for. This is what they want to do. Like I said earlier, when they police inner city or urban communities, it's a whole different attitude. It's a whole different energy. You know what I mean? Versus when they, patrol the suburbs and other groups, communities.
That's again because I'll take it back to what I was saying on our last program. Blacks have no power. You understand? They can call us niggas and rob us and beat us and shoot us and kill us and choke us to death, and nobody cares. You understand? I mean, nobody can do anything about it because it's in the system. That's what, like you said, that's what they were created for, was to keep black people in check. That was the original intent of the overseer and the police officer, and he had a free hand to do that. And that's reflected all the way down to today's society, where, it's still systemic that they police black and brown neighborhoods much harder than they police the white or affluent neighborhoods. They're very respectful and generous and gracious when they're there, but when they're in the neighborhoods with the blacks and the browns, you know how they act. They act with impunity as to, even what I find more disgusting even than the killings is just the way police talk to people on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. You understand? Just like the way he slapped a man in the face. Wake up, bitch. You could tell that's something he do all the time. You understand? To all kind of people. And nobody can stop him. And he knows no one can stop him. And that's the problem. That's what we need to correct. Once we correct that, once police are afraid to break the law, like everybody else is afraid to break the law, we'll see more progress in these matters.
I agree with you 100% right there. And that's what you said about police, how they disproportionately use force against black people. Black people more likely to be arrested and sentenced when we have interactions with police versus other.
Black people are more likely to get arrested and beat up and arrested for resisting arrest. Because the police beat you, now they got to arrest somebody. They got to arrest you for something, so they arrest you for assaulting them. I've seen that on several occasions happen.
Say that again?
Well, the police will beat you up, attack you, and beat you up. And now that they've beaten you up and sent you to the hospital and everything else, they've got to explain themselves. So they have to arrest you for something. So what they do, they'll arrest you for assaulting them. They'll say you tried to grab one of their guns, mm-hmm. or they'll say you tried to attack a police officer.
Yeah. And
they're doing that to cover their tracks because they just beat the hell out of you.
Exactly. Even Malcolm said that back in the day when he talked about they beat you up and then arrest them and they play the victim. So, with all that said, we get back on the issue of defunding the police. See, I think that a different picture is being painted when people hear, they get scared. They say, you're talking about getting rid of police, not having no police. That's not what they're talking about. They're simply saying, like you alluded to earlier, about how much money goes into these police departments, these big cities, billions and billions of dollars. Why can't you redirect or reallocate those funds into these communities so there can be more resources, more jobs, more activities, more different, agencies to help people going through, social issues as far as, just period, helping people. So to make these police jobs easier so they don't have to patrol our neighborhoods as aggressively as you said earlier. What do you think about that?
I'm not agreeing with you on that. I believe the neighborhoods do need to be policed. If you didn't have police in a lot of these black neighborhoods, it would be something you wouldn't believe was America would happen. You understand? We do need policing, and we do need hard policing. But what I want to stop is the disrespect, the illegal police activity, illegal killings, illegal beatings, calling people out of their name, disrespecting people. I want that to stop, but I don't want the policing to stop. Because without policing, these neighborhoods would be uninhabitable. People would have to go and live in shelters. They wouldn't be able to live in these neighborhoods without police.
I'm not saying that I don't want. I'm just saying as far as taking the money and doing some things different in these communities, so they don't have to. It makes their jobs more easy, and they don't have to. Where there's less crime, you don't have to police as aggressively. I mean, again, we agree that they come into our neighborhoods and police aggressively. So, and not only that, what about community policing? What about getting out, walking through these communities that you police? You know what I mean? Get to know the people that you're over here instead of just patrolling in your car, looking at people and making them all out to be criminals just by looking at them. You know what I mean? Stereotyping people. What do you think about that?
Well, I understand your point, but I can't really agree with that. I think that the black neighborhoods need a little bit more aggressive policing than the white neighborhoods. I really believe that because the crime is so much more severe in the black neighborhoods. You understand what I'm saying? You got serious crimes happening in the black neighborhood. And I understand why the police are aggressive. I understand why they're in and out of everybody's pockets. I understand why they do that. But I just wish they would do it on a little bit more civil level.
See, this is the thing. I think you're not understanding my point. I get what you're saying about needing police. I'm with you. I'm not saying we don't need police. What I'm saying is that if you take that money, those billions, some of that money, some of those billions, and reallocate that money into these communities that they're policing, because the reason that they have to police aggressively is hard is because of the fact that it's crime ridden, because people are poor and people are going through it. So therefore, the money and resources are there. There's opportunities there. Bring those things back into the neighborhood. Make more, jobs available. Something, you know what I mean? So therefore, now you don't have to come into the communities on this Gestapo type, aggressive policing type. You know what I mean? You can come in. People are doing things. It doesn't necessarily have to come through like that. You can police just like you police other neighborhoods and other communities. That's what I'm saying. You don't agree if those monies is redirected into these communities that things would be different?
No, I don't really think that. You know my views from before. I really think that people in the hood are doomed, and I really think that the only choice you have when you live in the hood is to get away from there. That's the only choice. That's the only reason you should be alive, is to get out of the hood. And I believe that it's always going to be hoods. You're never going to get rid of them. You're never going to get rid of poor people. You're never going to get rid of the downtrodden. The only thing you can do is leave them separate from everybody else. Get away from them. That's what I believe. But, I believe differently from a lot of people. But I believe it's always going to be poor people. There's nothing you can do about it. Throughout history, there's never been a solution to it. The Bible, that's all the Bible talks about is poor people. Jesus and the poor. It's always going to be poor. You're never, ever going to eradicate it. And I believe if I lived in the hood, all I would dream about, all I would be living for would be to get away from here. And anybody with any type of sense, that's all they thinking about. So that's why the hood is filled with people who ain't got no sense. They just, for whatever reason, they can't get away.
I hear you. I respect your position. I think that if there was monies allocated, that we could change some of the situation. I'm not saying that everything's going to change, but could make life a little bit better for people living in these hoods. You know what I mean? Beautify these neighborhoods. Do something.
What you mean? Paint them, give them a fresh color paint? I don't know what you mean by that. Beautify. The only thing I could say is police need to be defunded in certain areas, and that money needs to be put into certain things. Different programs to help the poor. Yes, I agree with that. But are we ever going to get rid of poverty? Are we ever going to get rid of violent crime? I don't think so. I really don't. Especially in a country that's awash with guns like America. It'd be different if there wasn't so many guns around. But you got to take that seriously, because it only takes one shot to end your life.
I agree. I agree. Well,
So, and you see what happened when the police fall back and don't do their job. The homicide rates explode.
so what are you talking about? Chicago now?
Yeah, Chicago, when the police fell back from doing their job after that, the Quan McDonald thing, they said we weren't going to do stop and frisk no more. And for a great period there, about I think it was a whole summer or so, you've seen mass shootings in Chicago. I mean, like over a weekend, more than 100 people, 30 dead. I mean, that's one city you're talking about. One couple of neighborhoods, really, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but is that representative of all the whole, Black America in general? I don't think so.
You tell me, brother.
That's Chicago. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think that
Where is that
represents.
not going on in this country? Except where the white people live, you don't see too much of that. But whenever you see some black people all living together, you're going to see a lot of stick-ups. You're going to see a lot of shooting, a lot of retaliatory killings. That's. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at the world differently. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong looking at the world the way I do.
Nah, that's real shit. But I mean, when you talk about Chicago, it's like everybody looks at Chicago and makes that, representative of all Black America. I just,
Detroit,
it's
Baltimore, D.C., Miami, Tampa, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta. Anywhere you got blacks congregated in big numbers, you're going to have these problems.
All right, I hear you, brother.
Am I lying? If I'm lying, please, we on TV, we on the internet. If I'm lying, make it known. And we'll debate it. But I'm not lying, and you know I'm not lying.
Nah, you ain't lying, man. I ain't gonna front. When you put it in that light, I have to agree with you. It's real shit going on all over the nation.
All over the nation, so trust me.
But
All
again,
over the nation. There's only one common denominator. You understand what I'm saying? There's
but
one
again,
common denominator.
that's my thing, though. Once again, I make the argument now. If those monies, if those funds, not saying that it's going to be 100% perfect because it's never going to be. And you're right, it's always going to be poor people. But if some of that money is put back into these communities where these things are going on, do you think that it will still go on at the rate that it's happening, or do you think it will be decreased?
I think it'll still be going on. But what I'm not saying that's a bad idea though, because it would ease a lot of the suffering that's going on right now immediately. Single mothers, they need all kind of help. And there's all kind of people out here that need help. Handicapped people like myself, people need help. So you should put more money into social programs, if for nothing else, but to relieve the immediate suffering that poor people are going through. People are scrambling for their next meal and don't know how they're going to pay the rent and how they're going to keep their car running. And I understand what that is.
No
I've
doubt.
been there too. Even though I'm not there now, I've been there.
No doubt. So we were talking about some ideas about what police reform looks like, and I think you had said something a while back, and I see some people talking about it now in the news, when I'm watching the news, about these police need to live in the actual cities that they actually police, that they work in. I thought that was a great idea, and I see some people seem like they're adopting that.
I think that's a great idea.
I was watching something
We
earlier.
got these white guys that come in from out of town. They come in from the suburbs. They're scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
The old timers make sure they're scared to death, and that's why you have a lot of these unfortunate incidents, because these guys are scared. They don't know the community. They don't know the people in the community, and they're scared to death, and they're not trained correctly.
And another thing on top of that is these people come into these communities. They get paid for policing these communities, and they take that money out to their communities where, here you living in poverty, the neighborhoods are devalued, so they need to do something about policing in that sense, because like you said, they go out there in the suburbs, they police inner city neighborhoods, At the
That's
same
right.
time, you know, when they, as far as the service they provide to us, and I was just watching Instagram, the guy making an excellent point. He was like, you know, the only service you provide to us is you come into our neighborhoods and you criminalize us. You know what I mean? You take resources away. You know, we stay impoverished. So yeah, they need to do something about that. They need to take a look again at their recruitment process and make
Right.
that mandatory. That if you're going to police in any of these
I believe
cities,
that should be mandatory for police and firemen. You should only be able to work in the community you live in.
I agree. I think that's very important. And
That's very important.
I'm an advocate of community police, and I think instead of just patrolling these neighborhoods, if you're going to be patrolling these neighborhoods, you need to be walking through these neighborhoods. You need to be meeting and talking to the people on the streets instead of just looking at them from your cars, stereotyping them because they may, you know, be dressed a certain way or have their hair a certain way, so automatically you assume they're up to some ill will or nefarious activity. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So are you for community policing?
Well, I think I think that's just a gimmick the police came up with. You know, I remember when William Pastor started that in New Haven, Connecticut. He was the one that was the author of that, and he was just kind of come up with something for statistics. I don't think it works any better than anything else they do. They got a tough job to do, man. You understand what I'm saying? Their basic job is to stop people from shooting each other. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to protect people's property from being stolen. And it's a tough job. How can you? I mean, it's not that hard to keep property from getting stolen, but it's very hard to keep black people from shooting each other. It's very hard because of just the way our society is, man. It's very hard to stop that.
No, I
You got
agree.
young black guys. You got a bunch of guns, and believe me, even in my day, and way before my day, there was a problem, and I don't know. I don't see how that's gonna end. I don't think any type of social programs or any type of money you throw at that situation is gonna stop that. The only thing that's gonna stop that is by outlawing guns in this country.
Which will never happen.
Which I don't think they'll never
That'll
do
never
that.
happen. But nah, I agree. Listen, that is a difficult job. I wouldn't want to be a cop. That's a difficult job any day of the week. I agree. You know what I mean? It's a very difficult job. But at the same time, you took an oath to do that job. So you need to do it and stand true to your oath. You need to treat everybody the same way. You can't go into different communities and police two different type of ways. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. And not only that, like you alluded to earlier, with everything that's going on right now, the social unrest, the racial tension at an all-time high, if any time there's a time to start to try to bridge that gap between the black community and police, it's now. You know what I mean? They should be doing everything they can to try to gain the trust and try to work back the trust of the black community, because right now, the lines are drawn, in my opinion. What do you think?
The lines are drawn. The lines are drawn, and now the police and the authorities back is against the wall with all these protests and the world watching. But that won't be forever. You understand? You see how fast that George Floyd shit blew over. I would have thought that would have lasted a little longer than that.
Yeah, they done that as quick as they possibly could. They want that whole thing to get over quick.
Because it was too much. There was too many white people involved in that. That they can't have. You know, that's what they're afraid of. Is white people getting mad. Black people can get mad and march all the hell we want. But when white people started, they pay attention because white people vote. They don't pay attention when black people do it because we don't vote. They just look at us and laugh up their sleeves at that. That's nothing to them. But when white people get out there and get mad about something, they pay attention.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You're right about that.
That's right. I'm joking. Let a white woman go missing and watch the whole world come to a halt. The American economy will come to a halt if a white woman goes missing.
That's funny that you said that, but yeah, I agree with you there, brother. It's crazy how that shit be popping off. So, in conclusion, what do you think is the overall idea of real police reform in your as far through your lens?
Breaking the police unions so police officers can't act with impunity. When you act with impunity and you know the law is not a factor, you can do the most terrible things, man. No, you know what I'm saying? You might not even necessarily be a very bad person, but you can do some foul things, man, because you know that you're not accountable to the laws that everybody else is accountable to. Until we break these police unions up and take their power away, we're always going to see this. We're going to see it from black cops. We're going to see it from Spanish cops. We're going to see it from female cops. We're going to see it from cops in general.
Well said, man. I can't even say nothing to that. And I'm going to let it rest right there. You heard it. You heard it. I can't say nothing to it because I agree 100%. That's where it starts. We got to get in these unions. That's the start. From there, we can work.
We got to break these unions, bust them up.
Yeah, we got to break them up. And that's going to be a very difficult thing to do.
You ain't lying. The Fraternal Order of Police goes around the world. Europe, Asia, policemen all around the world are members of that union.
But
which means they got friends all over the world, believe me.
No doubt. It's a very powerful organization. And until something's done about that, then I guess that this whole thing is going to continue on and on. These cops are going to be able to kill with impunity.
And in America, they play a big role in politics because they play a big role in electing, especially municipalities, like the mayor's office and the city councilors, the city lawyers. The police unions have big influence over those guys.
No doubt, no doubt. So we're going to let it rest right there, brother. I like the input. I'm going to definitely do some more thinking about it because I think it's still a much needed conversation. I think we need to talk more about it. But right here, we're going to let it rest. And I just want to say to everybody, thanks for joining us. I hope you got some good information. And join us on the next episode. Peace and good night.